Hey, Eagle fans! Your Statesboro Walmart is your one-stop shop for all your Georgia Southern football and game day needs. Pick up your GSU sports gear here. We have t-shirts, hats, tote bags, koozies, stadium bleacher seats, car spirit flags, wall pennants, beads, and more right here at the best prices in town. Also, don't forget we can handle all of your tailgating needs with our great food trays, baked goods, and fresh, high-quality meat, seafood, and chicken.
Walmart. Save money. Live better. Walmart.
On this week's show, the Georgia Southern football team with a bye week, we catch up with head coach Willie Fritz, and the Georgia Southern men's and women's basketball team with a doubleheader. We'll take a look at some highlights and have analysis as well as we welcome you inside the Eagles' nest. And welcome inside the Eagles' nest. I'm your host, Josh Aubrey, being joined as always by Matt Yogas, the sports editor and Georgia Southern beat writer for the Statesboro Herald. We appreciate you getting out your illnesses that you're going through with the seasonal changes here. A little chilly outside. That's why we're going to go indoors and talk a little bit about basketball in just a moment. But first of all, let's reflect on the Georgia Southern Navy game. Not much you can say, 52-19. Georgia Southern got their fannies whipped, as Jeff Monken used to say, and kind of got schooled in the art of how to not stop, I guess, the triple option under center. Your thoughts on that game? And I know they'd like to put it behind them pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I guess losing close to the Citadel and getting blown out by Navy are pretty similar in how you feel afterwards. But Navy, I mean, Georgia Southern couldn't shed blocks on defense. They couldn't do anything about Navy's quarterback, finally healthy, and he showed it. 6 touchdowns, 277 rushing yards, career day for him. And offensively, Georgia Southern churned up some yards, especially in the second half, but couldn't turn those yards into points. So it's a good recipe for a blowout, and then you add in 3 turnovers to Navy's 0, 7 penalties to Navy's 0. You get what you get. Georgia Southern absolutely needs to just put this one behind them. You know, if there's anything you can learn from this game, it's that, you know what, Georgia Southern, you're not invincible. Take that, move on, try to go win a Sun Belt championship.
Time for an off week, the second one that they've had, and I know typically you want to get right back out there, put the loss behind you and play, but I think Coach is kind of maybe not happy, but he's okay with having 2 weeks to prepare for the Sun Belt Championship.
Yeah, this is a banged-up team. Everybody's hurt at this point in the season. That's certainly not an excuse, but Georgia Southern has plenty of bumps and bruises. They can certainly use that extra week to heal up from. You have Kevin Ellison, who's been kind of, just battling through some injuries all throughout the season, especially in the second half. He needs a rest, and certainly it's nice to be able to sit back and watch your opponent have to play a game, the following week. And you have a chance to go win a Sun Belt title if Appalachian State beats UL Lafayette, so that could be fun too.
All right, well, we did have a chance to talk with Coach Willie Fritz about having an off week and how things are going right now.
Well, I think it comes at a good time for us. You play a team with the style that Navy's got, their physical team. I think it allows you an opportunity to kind of exhale and relax a little bit and get ourselves geared up for next week and full preparation. We are taking a little bit of time off this week to devote to recruiting and lifting some weights, conditioning, and letting the guys get into their studies a little bit more because we do not have school all next week. So I think it came at a good time, and we'll be ready to go for Monroe.
How's the morale this week?
Well, the kids were disappointed, coaches disappointed, we were all disappointed. I don't think we played our best game last Saturday. A lot of it had to do with us, a lot of it had to do with Navy, and the more you look back at the game, there's different things that you see that we could have done differently or better. But it's part of life, it's part of football. Not very many teams don't lose any. So, we've got an opportunity right now to really play a big-time, meaningful game. I don't think many people at the beginning of the year thought Georgia Southern would be playing for an undefeated conference championship last week of the year. So, that's we've got a heck of a lot to play for.
With more than 100 years of experience under one roof, Complete Car Care on 207 Northside Drive can do it all for your car or truck, gas or diesel, even hybrids, motors, tune-ups, front end, air conditioning, transmissions, electrical. Complete Car Care does it all. When others say no, Complete Car Care says yes. Come see what Michael and his team can do for you at Complete Car Care, 207 Northside Drive.
Well, Matt, let's get into some basketball. The Georgia Southern men and women finally got a chance to see them at Hanner Fieldhouse, the first, I think, of 13 doubleheaders, 12 more left the rest of the season. I guess that could be a good or bad thing. It's nice, though, that you know that the women play, the guys are going to be playing immediately afterwards. First games was Jacksonville and Trinity. You learned a little bit maybe about the women because that was a pretty good win. As for the guys, I don't know about the Trinity game. Your thoughts on Georgia Southern men and women?
Well, you said it. At least the women played a Division I NCAA opponent. They played Jacksonville. Played really well. I think there's a lot to be encouraged about if you're Georgia Southern. Alexis Sams back in the mix after missing all of last season. She hit a big three that really sparked the run that gave Georgia Southern the ability to kind of cruise through the last 5 minutes of that ball game. And then you look at the post for Georgia Southern. When you look back 3 or 4 years and you see Meredith Fry playing point guard and forward for Georgia Southern, you know, it's nice to see the Eagles have the ability to rotate in some forwards, get production out of everybody they put in there, and really have a lot of bodies they can put out there on the floor to contribute.
And some size out there as well. I mean, you're not just putting in, you know, somebody who's 5'11", 5'9", something like that. You've got a couple 6 foot with some fairly big bodies underneath there.
Yeah, Brianna Jones leads the way. She's a legitimate, you know, Division I Sunbelt caliber of player. She showed it in that ball game. Her and Anna Claire Knight, who's another player that you can't go without mentioning. She's going to have a triple-double again at some point this season after the way she's been playing. But those two get together. She can Anna Claire Knight can deliver the ball to Brianna Jones, and that's easy points every single time. Good vision out there. Good performance by the ladies. And then the men, what can you say? They could have scrimmaged us and gotten just about as much out of that game.
Well, I guess some of the good things we're looking with the guys, though, is, you know, Trent Wiedemann, we knew what we expect from him. You're going to probably get somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 points, 7 or 8 rebounds every game. He looked solid there in the game against Trinity. But you also saw a few of the newcomers that maybe we can expect some things from this season.
To me, Mike Hughes is the key to Georgia Southern's success. You know, Eric Ferguson, obviously a big factor. There's still question marks about him. We expect we're going to probably see him at some point this year, but we just don't know. So Mike Hughes is a guy who needs to step up and be a scorer. You mentioned Wiedemann. He's a scorer for the Eagles. Jelani Hewitt, he can score from everywhere on the floor. But everybody else is pretty much a role player. And if you can get Mike Hughes, another starting guard, a freshman, to step up and get 10 or 12 points a game, all of a sudden you've got that dynamic team. You have the ability to get the Jake Alsmillers, you know, in a position to shoot threes, and you have the ability to get the guys like Angel Matthias free under the basket to go score easy points. So Hughes, I like what I've seen out of him. Everybody else, you know, this is a complete team if Hughes can be that factor.
All right, well, let's get out and see some highlights from the doubleheader from Tuesday night. The Georgia Southern women hosting Jacksonville in the first of a doubleheader on Tuesday. Brianna Jones banging her way inside for 2 of her 15 points. More from Jones, this time off the nice outlet for the hoop and the foul. Georgia Southern up by 5. Sharonda Reddick helping JU back. The hoop and the foul. She'd lead all scorers with 24. Anna Claire Knight drives in for 2 of her 15 points. Later off the miss, Jessica Marcus with the rebound and the putback. Eagles up by 6. Alexis Sams then heats up from outside, burying 2 from behind the arc. She'd finish with 12 points, 1 of 4 Eagles in double figures. And finally, it's Angel McGowan from way downtown, 3 of her 17 as the Eagles roll 78-65. The Georgia Southern men hosting Trinity College before a good crowd at Hanner. This one all Eagles. Angel Mateus with the rebound and the putback. Later, Curtis Diamond would heat up, driving in for 2. Then much of the same moments later. Next up, the Eagles looking sharp on the break. Jelani Hewitt to Diamond, who finished with the jam. He'd be one of 5 Eagles in double figures. One of the others, Mike Hughes, here for 3 of his 10 points in the game. Later, the nice look from Hughes to Coy Simmons underneath. He gets this one to fall. Devontae Boykin then lets it rip from 3-point range. He'd have 10 points as well. And finally, it's Jelani Hewitt off the steal. He goes coast to coast. He'd finish with 15, and Georgia Southern wins easily, 86-49. Well, a busy weekend coming up at Henry. You have the volleyball team wrapping things up with the ball game in the afternoon, and then that's followed by another doubleheader. I believe the women's game is supposed to start around 4:30. The guys were supposed to start at 6. Doubt that's going to happen, but I imagine it'll probably be closer to 6:30. We'll have highlights of those for you next week. Well, that'll wrap things up for now. For Matt Yogus, I'm Josh Aubrey. Thanks for joining us. Hope to see you again next week.